Not so long ago, it's a scenario that would have seemed unimaginable in a state that was an energy powerhouse. On the coldest days in a Victorian winter, there's not enough natural gas to keep homes warm. Not enough to make a cup of tea.
Yes, we very much could run out of gas.
Energy consultant Rick Wilkinson says after years of warnings, shortages are now a very real possibility.
There are 2.2 million homes in Victoria that rely on gas central heating or gas heating in some form to keep them warm during the winter. So you've just turned that off, and that's going to be a problem.
Gas deposits in the Bass Strait have been running dry for years, and not enough new gas is replacing that supply. Some industry voices, such as Meg O'Neill from Woodside Energy, believe it's too late to avoid a shortfall.
I'm very worried about Victoria. The Australian Energy Market Operator has signaled there could be short-term deficits as early as this year.
That means on peak days in Victoria's winter, there may not be enough gas to go around. Victoria's peak gas demand can easily exceed 1,100 terajoules a day. Just 3 years ago, the key plant at Longford in Gippsland, processing gas from the Bass Strait, supplied about 1,000 terajoules a day. Now it's down to about 700 terajoules. And by 2028, it will drop another 30% to 325 terajoules a day.
I've got all electric, I don't have three phase.
Victorian Energy Minister Lily D'Ambrosio says she's confident in projections that there will be enough gas overall until at least 2028. But on days when winter demand peaks, all bets are off. Could there be actual shortages?
Well, the fact is we don't want to wait and see. Taking action is really critical. Doing nothing is the worst thing that can happen to consumers of gas, whether they are in the home or in a business.
Australia's energy market operator has considered how it would ration natural gas if it had to. Its rationing and recovery guidelines state first, the operator would ask for voluntary reductions, asking customers to keep warm by adding layers of clothing and using other ways to cook food and heat water. Once rationing kicks in, there's a priority list. Essential services and those on the life support register are at the top. Next comes customers with a rationing allowance. Then come Tariff D Category A customers, businesses that need gas to maintain sustainability and livelihoods. Residential customers and small to medium businesses are number 4. As to how Victoria got here, Lily D'Ambrosio says much of the blame goes to the previous Liberal government, out of office since 2014.
They did put a pause on permits for exploration and production that had already been issued.
I just don't know that people are going to believe that you're putting this on a government that hasn't been in power for 10 years. I mean, you've been running the state for 10 years.
The actions they took put a pause on investor confidence. Investors went elsewhere to look for gas.
Australia has plenty of natural gas, but what it doesn't have is a pipeline from the gas-rich Northwest Shelf off Western Australia to move it across the country. New South Wales and Victoria rely on the Southwest Queensland pipeline, which carries gas from Wollambilla to Moomba in South Australia and on to Sydney and Melbourne. But as Rick Wilkinson explains, that pipeline is maxed out.
We're at the limit of the pipelines as to what we can bring down from the north, and we would need to increase the capacity of that pipeline substantially, in the order of doubling the size of it, to start to make an impact on what is the demand swings that we're seeing in Victoria.
We want to bring in the most efficient and cheapest gas to the state, and that's...
In Geelong, the operators of the refinery here have big plans to import natural gas to address the coming shortfall.
And what you'll have is a permanently moored floating regasification unit, which effectively looks just like a boat that will stay there. And then when gas comes in, it'll come in on ships, which will pull up next to that moored boat and effectively offload their LNG, which gets converted to gas and into the hard pipeline. Then that hard pipeline is hard piped all the way into the gas grid.
This terminal could supply up to 60% of Victoria's gas demand. It's awaiting an environmental review to go ahead.
So it will take us 2 years to build the project. So we're very keen to get to the point by the end of this year to take a final approval decision on it. So we can start building next year in early 2026 so that we can supply gas to Victoria by the winter of 2028.
You're cutting it pretty close in terms of where we are vis-a-vis shortages.
It is close, but it's as quick as any project can get up in Victoria, and it's as quick as we can build it.
Pfeiffer's project still needs environmental approval and then sign-off from Energy Minister Lily D'Ambrosio. She said Victoria has streamlined the application process for energy projects.
I'm not about picking winners or indicating favourites, but what is important, of course, is that proposals in Victoria have got the environmental effects statement process. They're going through planning approvals, and we encourage them to do that.
Up the east coast, in New South Wales, Squadron Energy's import gas terminal is almost complete in Port Kembla. CEO Rob Wheels says the debate over the need to import gas is over.
Time has run out. We simply don't have time for any other options if we are to avoid shortfalls in natural gas supply.
This terminal is ready, but so far signing contracts is more of a challenge. Suppliers need certainty about how much gas retailers will buy and at what price. Wheels believes that may require new rules from Canberra.
Now that could come in a number of different ways, one of which may be for the government to give powers to the Australian energy market operator to ensure that there is energy security.
A spokesman for Federal Energy Minister Chris Bowen told 730 discussion around expansion of AEMO's current powers will be focused on identifying solutions to address shortfalls currently forecast from 2028 onwards.
The most important thing is that this is done swiftly. We don't have time to wait. We don't have time for 12 months of negotiating and managing rule changes when in fact what we're staring at is a gas crisis emerging.